What is going on, guys? Welcome to ForTheFans with me, Jack, and my co-host Ben. Coming up in today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the teams that took a tumble in the last round of the World Cup, before taking a look to some of these antics which have been going on and off the pitch over the last few days, as there is no games today. So let's get straight into this.
"60 games, 159 goals, and enough drama to fill an EastEnders omnibus." Thank you, BBC. That was perfect. It's the ForTheFans podcast. It's me, Ben, co-host Jack.
Hi. Sorry,
Hi.
The way you phrased that made it sound like we'd played that many matches. I'm sat here thinking I've not scored that many goals.
Oh, that was the 2014 World Cup, and it's provided hours of thrills and spills. Once again, thank you, BBC. So what we're going to do today, it's going to be a bit of a mishmash. We're going to start off by talking a little bit about the teams that have gone out, whether they disappointed, whether they thrilled us, and then we're going to just talk about whatever comes to mind, right, Jack?
Yeah, pretty much we're just going to go with the flow. No football on today, as we mentioned in the intro, so it's pretty much a case of let's talk out of our arses.
Which is not a change from any other show.
Exactly.
We'll start with the Colombians. They were the first team to go out of the quarterfinal stage. The draw was a bit unkind to them, really, getting Brazil.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I think they've been excellent, and we saw the welcome they got. If you've not seen the pictures of the welcome home they got, my word,
it's mental, isn't it? I don't know what the expectations were going into the tournament, but they were acting like they'd won the whole thing, which, to be fair, losing to Brazil by 1 goal is certainly nothing to be ashamed of. Colombia, for me, really, they surprised me. I kind of believe that they're a team who a lot of people maybe tipped a little bit, but much like Belgium, people really weren't sure what quite they were going to expect with this Colombia side. And this Colombia side came out and they played ball. And they played sexy ball.
Have they got... Will he be named player of the tournament? That's the question, because I'm not sure a player of the tournament has ever gone out of the quarterfinal stage.
Yeah.
But as things stand, he's top in the goal scored, is he not?
James Rodriguez is, or Jimmy Rod is.
Jimmy Rod is. So we're talking about Jimmy Rod, of course. And he's top in the assist charts?
Yep.
I'm sure he is. So, as things stand, it's looking pretty good for him. There's a few players that could obviously topple him. You look at players like Messi. There's the obvious one, Thomas Muller, another. But, yeah, he may well get it. I've enjoyed the Colombians a lot. I'm really disappointed they got Brazil. I feel like if they'd have faced almost any other team but Germany, they may well have gone through.
Yeah.
Facing Brazil in Brazil was never going to be easy.
Especially when they conceded that early goal as well.
Yeah, we talked about the game in detail on a previous show 2 days ago. But do you know what? We said pre-tournament, and we went on about it quite a lot. We wanted a team to come out, not of nowhere, but we wanted a team that we knew a bit about to just be a standout candidate for team of the tournament. And although they've gone out of the quarterfinals, Colombia have wowed a lot of people and impressed a lot of people. You look at their players now are being linked with every other team under the sun.
Yeah.
And Cuadrado wants to move to Barcelona. He said it.
Does he? He's just gone, Barcelona, I'm free.
Yeah, that's the new thing that players do. Yeah, I think if I had the choice between Real and Barca, Jimmy Rod did it as well. Jimmy Rod was like, I think I'd rather go to Real Madrid. Wait a minute, just hold on. You're still at your own. If I'm the club that they're at, I'm going, like, Fiorentina have just bought Cuadrado, like all of him. They bought the other 50% of him because still he's weird. And now he's immediately gone, well, if Barca want me. What do you mean if Barca want you? That's not how this works.
Well, the thing is, Jimmy Rod, why would you want to leave Monaco? Because you don't get taxed in Monaco.
Well, no.
So, when he's on the money he's on, why would you leave?
Yeah.
He's set the record, hasn't he, for Colombian goals by a Colombian at World Cups in total at his first World Cup.
Oh, so he's got more goals in this World Cup than any Colombian had ever got in World Cups before.
Yes, combined.
4 World Cups, yeah.
So that's a good stat.
That's a very good start. Well, I've liked them. They have probably been the most fun team to watch in this tournament. I'm trying to think of anyone else.
Would you say, before the Brazil game, they were the only team to show consistency? In terms of game after game, you knew what to kind of expect from them of sorts? Because I kind of feel like every team's had its off game except Colombia. Yeah,
and even against Brazil, they didn't have an off game, really. They were just stifled. And it was the way we talked about it in much detail, the amount of fouls in that game, and the way Brazil broke up the play, and it stopped Colombia's rhythm. And credit to Brazil, they were the first team to do that. So I'd say credit to them. But Oh, I feel kind of gutted for Colombia. I'd have quite liked to see Colombia in a do you remember Uruguay? In 2010.
Yeah.
Colombia were kind of that team, and Uruguay got quite sort of comfortable, easy draws up until they got in the third place playoff. And I'd quite like to see Colombia in that. But the two semi-finals we've got are pretty good. Let's talk about another team defeated, the French. Now we were banging on about the French a lot.
Me especially, like Japan. Not so much like England, but another team who I had the backing of have gone tumbling out slightly prematurely, you might argue. I feel like they got a very tough draw. In my opinion, I think maybe not dissimilar to Colombia, but I think there's definitely a lot of teams in who they could have met in that game, kind of in the stage they've gone out at and got through against.
Colombia-France would have been a good game.
Yeah.
That would have been really interesting. Who stood out for France then? We kind of focused on Jimmy Rod for Colombia. We should mention players like our spinner who had decent tournaments too.
Yeah.
We shouldn't forget about those. But who for the French stood out for you? Pogba? He was good.
I want to say he stood out, but you expect him to stand out. I don't think he performed as well as expected.
Do you not?
No, I kind of feel like I wanted a little bit more from him. He kind of gave a performance which is what I expected of him, whereas I wanted him to do something that was going to rock the world and really shock me watching the game.
He nearly got sent off very early on.
Well, yeah.
Does that count?
Well, no, maybe for the wrong reasons.
We forget about that, don't we? When he lashed out.
Yeah, he was a lucky boy.
Honduras or whoever it was. Who else for the French? You look at their back line. I think Sacco had quite a decent tournament, despite people slagging him. Aside from that, Kabay was quite good.
Yeah, Varane.
Valbuena had a very good tournament. But going into the game against Germany, we wanted a lot more from the French, and they were another team that just kind of fizzled out. We'll come on to the team that fizzled out more than any other team in a minute, but the French certainly. They looked outthought. It was the first time Deschamps looked outthought by an opposition manager.
Yeah, well, it's like we said in the actual kind of podcast a few days ago, talking about this game. Watching the game, Germany was just better man for man. Essentially, you looked across the line, and not even like before the game, you could have split the players, but after the game, it was very evident to go down the line and go, "You outperformed you." You know, you could really go down it. I was looking for Benzema really to have a bigger impact. I know he had a huge impact in a few of the games, but he went missing for large spells of kind of the latter ties and the ties where you have to turn up and you have to play.
It was the first time that. Well, okay. Well, the big difference between the Germans and the French for me, we didn't mention this on the show actually, but I think it's that Germany looked like a team that have spent the last 5, 6, 7 years playing together because they're all of a similar age. They all know each other quite well. A lot of them play together, and the French are like a team that never play together.
Yeah.
Who on their own can beat poorer teams, which they did in their group, and against Nigeria too. And then you come to a team like Germany, and you're like, oh, okay, they look like friends and everything. They look like mates. They look like mates playing and having fun. And we look like a bunch of guys who... I'm trying to think of 2 players that started the game who played together at club level. And I'm struggling to do so. But let's go through it.
Any PSG players?
Tottenham keeper. Debussy and Kabay obviously played together a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you've got Varane and Benzema, but they're not near each other. You got Liverpool with Sacco, United with Evra, Juventus Pogba, Valbuena Marseille. Mentioned Kabay, he's now at PSG. Matuidi, I guess, is at PSG.
Yeah.
With Kabay.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Griezmann at Sociedad, and then obviously you got Benzema up top. So not a lot of those players played together. And then the reason I mention this is because you look at the Germans. Suddenly you got Schweinsteiger, Neuer, Lahm, Muller, many others playing together. And then even you've got like Ozil, Podolski, Mertesacker. They weren't always on the same pitch at the same time, but you get the drift. They're kind of they've come through together, whereas the French are a little bit more. They're different ages as well. The French, there's a few older heads in there. So overall, good tournament for the French, or are they going to be disappointed?
I think Germany might go on and win it now. And
so is that good for France? Does that make the French look not as bad?
Perhaps. I think France will be disappointed with a quarter-final, but kind of given the quality of the teams left in the tournament, like I'd argue that all but maybe Argentina are stronger than France.
Do you think the French have suffered from having an easy group? Because once again, I'm referring to Belgium when I say a lot of these things, because I'm comparing the two. Do you think the French have suffered because of the easy group? Because I think they've had a relatively easy group.
Probably to an extent. I kind of feel like it might be a little bit difficult to kind of keep it professional almost in the early stages, particularly if you're already qualified. But at the same time, I feel like a professional player needs to have the capabilities to kind of turn up for the big games without that build-up beforehand.
Yeah, it's just that Germany's first game was Portugal. So they were, even though that game went a lot easier for them than they probably anticipated, they were straight into it. Portugal, tough game. They knew they had to be at it, and then they kind of dropped off against Ghana. But then again, America, they did the German efficiency thing.
Yeah,
and I wonder how much of an impact that kind of, and even the Algeria game was tough for them. Whereas France kind of cruised through the group, cruised through their last 16 game, and then had to face the might of Germany. Whereas Germany were kind of at our level already, which meant they had to perform.
No, I agree with that.
I do wonder if that hindered the French.
I think that's an element.
Yeah. So, about what you expect, or a little disappointed? I think it depends, doesn't it?
I tipped them to win. I kind of feel like they kind of fizzled out. The first few games, they looked like they could easily kind of build up some momentum and, just kind of step up their game. What ended up happening was they drew against Ecuador and they kind of slowed down almost. They just didn't seem to hit fifth gear. Yeah,
it's a good point, actually. When teams need to start sort of revving their engine, France let their foot off the gas.
See what we did there.
Just a strange car analogy. So yeah, that was the French. Colombia and France done now. They're out. We don't have to talk about them anymore. Although Jimmy Budd will probably come up again in the future.
He will.
We then go to, we'll start with Netherlands, Costa Rica. So we're focusing on the Costa Ricans, who have had, we mentioned it, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
They've had the tournament of their lives. They'll never have it. I don't want to speak too soon, but Costa Rica will not have a tournament like that again for a long time.
No, I agree.
Who stood out? There's a few obvious ones.
Goalkeeper in goal. Is it a goalkeeper in goal? I'd be worried if the goalkeeper wasn't in goal.
Kilo Navas.
Yeah, he really impressed me. He's got to move to Barcelona, has he or has he not? I believe.
No, that's Bravo, who plays for Chile.
Oh, I get so confused.
But they wear similar colours.
They do.
So I'll let you off.
But he really impressed me. Is he playing in Spain at the moment?
He plays for Levante.
Yeah, so that's where the confusion was. But no, he really impressed me. Up top, Joel Campbell obviously not got a work permit in England to play for Arsenal. I'd be amazed if he didn't get one if he applied for one now after that World Cup performance. You look a little bit further back at the likes of Ruiz, who kind of played off Campbell for a lot of it. We kind of knew what to expect from him to some extent as kind of English football fans, because of course he made that big move to Fulham, but he was injured a lot last year, so there was a few question marks over him.
He went on loan, I think, as well. I think he had a patchy time at Fulham.
Yeah,
and he never really fit the system. Obviously, Fulham had multiple managers, and I don't think that helped him at all.
No,
but I think he's had a better tournament than I thought he would, actually, because of kind of the reputation he's garnered in England. You look at him and think, well, he's a bit of a fancy piece, don't really work hard enough, but he's gone through a couple of games in extra time where he's worked his socks off.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of players who I feel have been dismissed in English football who have shined at this World Cup, even, just to a lesser extent, not even a James Rodriguez level. But you look at the likes of was it Armero, the Colombian who played at West Ham this year?
Yeah.
And never really got a shout in. You look at players like Ruiz. There's a fair few players who they've not been given a chance in English football, and they've come to this World Cup and kind of put themselves on a pedestal, and I think Ruiz kind of fits that. I feel as if he's been an essential part of Costa Rica's kind of game plan and how they play. When you're a team like Costa Rica and you intend to go on a World Cup run, you have to have that little bit of quality in the middle, that player who can put his foot on the ball, kind of do that kind of superior player job of just slowing down the play, really dictating what he's going to do with the ball and kind of shaping the team, I guess, around him.
Yeah, it's interesting. Costa Rica, have only conceded 2 goals in this World Cup, which suddenly all of a sudden it makes England's result against Costa Rica look not that bad.
Yeah, we kept a clean sheet.
You were stunned by that. England semi-performed. What? So yeah, I think I'm they were. Do you know what? I've said it a minute ago, but we said pre-tournament we want a team to surprise us, and Costa Rica have been that team. The rest of the teams in the last 16, the quarterfinals, you expect them to be there, really, with a few exceptions, because you might have thought Spain and Italy might have been there, even maybe England. But Costa Rica are the side which have really kind of put their mark on this tournament and gone, do you know what? we're not bad for the little guys, are we?
No.
And I like that. I love that kind of aspect of it. We're going to move on to the Belgians, who went out with a damp squib against Argentina. I'm going to slate, like we were quite, do you know what? I feel like I was quite kind yesterday.
To Wilmot.
Yeah. But he's incompetent, I've decided. Argentina are full of very kind of clever professional footballers, by which I mean they've got a lot of experienced heads, even from the top to the bottom. They've got people like Di Michaelis and Zabaleta at the back, Mascherano in the middle, Higuain up top, Messi's not exactly new, is he?
No.
And the Belgians aren't that dissimilar. They've got similar ages amongst it. You look at people like Van Boyten of a certain age, and then you've got Courtois, company, surrounding him, a nice blend of youth and experience. And going forward is exactly the same. Why haven't they gone through against Argentina? Because Argentina, for all their qualities, aren't actually that good. Like they're okay, but they're just kind of
two factors.
They can't believe their luck.
No.
Playing that Belgium side.
Two factors: incohesive attacking unit on the Belgium side with poor movement, and Mascherano doing an amazing job of shielding his defence from any frailties. Yeah,
I think at the back, Belgium looked quite good. I know they conceded quite a poor goal, the Higuain effort. It's kind of a little bit lucky, but aside from that, like Argentina didn't look very threatening.
No.
But going forward with the ball, you expect Belgium to be a very fast, attacking, exciting unit. Players like Hazard, De Bruyne, Witsel, Lukaku, and some of those players really didn't step up. Lukaku, for one, has just been dropped for a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much that bumps his confidence. You wonder how much different their game would have been with Benteke.
I feel like he was a bit of a scapegoat.
What, because of the poor players behind him?
Yeah, or? I feel like one of kind of the big unsticking points for Belgium was their lack of creative talent behind the front man. I know,
which is crazy to say that, really.
I know, I shouldn't be saying it, but you look at De Bruyne, I know he did okay, but to me he didn't really take it. He was a bit... He didn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck and really dictate it as that playmaker. And then I kind of felt like the big problem for Belgium was just a lack of balance. You look at maybe Fellaini and Witsel, I feel like... I don't know. I feel like there's better players in that midfield area, like Dembele, who could have come in and done a better job. Dembele, third highest cap player in the Belgium squad going into this tournament.
It's crazy.
Age 26, and he didn't get a shout.
Did he play in the first game? I feel like he played in the first game.
He may well have done.
And then since then, he's not really been seen since. So much has been said about this Belgium side. They're everyone's dark horse. And we mentioned it yesterday. I kind of said, well, they've gone out to Argentina. They can't be too sort of disappointed with that. Argentina are a good side. But in reality, I still expected so much more from this Belgium side.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something very controversial here.
I'm bracing myself.
And we've kind of got over this hump, but I'm reverting back to them. Are Belgium, and this is very early to say, I admit, because they're not in major tournaments very often, are they the New England?
Potentially.
Because England got into a quarter-final in 2002, and then ever since have been kind of lauded as quite a good team with quite good players and never quite done it. And Belgium basically played like England would have done against Argentina, tried to work the ball, found out there was no space in behind, then resorted to playing long and that not working, and then going out and everyone going, well, not too bad, is it?
I was surprised Hazard played out wide. I feel like he would have been a better option down the middle. There's so much I would have changed about how Belgium played. And I feel like Wilmot, he was willing to change his team 20 minutes from the end of the game. All of Belgium's goals came, within 20 minutes of the end of the game. He was willing to make those changes and mix things up. But what he wasn't willing to do was make those changes and make those system changes before the game kicks off. He was very, I want to say conservative in the fact he always stuck with the same system and then kind of was very reactionary to kind of what was happening. Whereas I would have liked to have seen him kind of react in anticipation of what to expect every game, given the fact that, especially kind of the third game into the tournament, they never convinced me, Belgium. They never played with a kind of a intensity, a aggressiveness and assertiveness. They never grabbed that game, kept the ball, worked the ball well, and looked like a team who could bang in 3 or 4.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that, I wonder if you agree with this, that Wilmots doesn't know his best team, and that was a major issue with this Belgium side, that he was kind of guessing he had all these really exciting young players at his disposal, and he wasn't quite sure what to do with them. And another manager on another day may have got into a comfortable semi-final with this side because of how good some of them are.
I can see that to an extent. One thing I've always said is that a manager's job is not to pick a team; it's to pick a team around a system. Anyone can pick a team. I could be a manager if it just involved picking a team. And for me, Wilmot has picked a team that should be doing a lot better than it is, and it's actually his system that's let him down rather than his team selection. So whilst I can see to an extent, yes, he doesn't know his best team, I'd go as far as to say he doesn't know how to get the best out of his team, and that's a bigger issue for me.
I think a lot of the players, I think international coaches are very important because they have to take a lot of players that they're basically the second manager, and this might sound weird, they're like the stepdad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? That they've got, like, okay, I'm going to pick up some examples. Hazard this season has had Mourinho to back him. You've got players like Vertonghen who have had, well, okay, Tim Sherwood's not. Vertonghen's not a good example. Company has had Pellegrini. Yeah. Then you've got Fellaini who's had, okay, fair enough. And then you've got Lukaku. Okay, my point is, some of these players, Alderweireld and Courtois, have had Simeone. Okay, Lukaku and Morales have had Roberto Martinez. All these people have played under managers who have got a complete system and a complete understanding of how to play the game, and they come away to the Belgium national side, and they looked lost without a system. And I think you're absolutely right when you say that Wilmots didn't have a system, and that's what's let them down. He's put players on the pitch and gone, well, go on then, I've seen you be good, so go be good.
Well, Roberto Martinez said before this tournament began that he thought Belgium were the strongest team player for player in the tournament in terms of their overall squad balance. Now, I'm not sure I agree with that 100%, but I would have loved to have seen how he would have set up. Yeah. Because I feel as if, I don't know, I mean, what has Wilmots done before? Forgive my absolute naivety, like, I'm looking at his club history.
He's a former player, isn't he? He's a former Belgian international, and that was kind of I'm not saying that was the remit for him getting the job, but I'm sure it was definitely an underlying factor.
Because he had a spell at Schalke for 2 years as as a player, and then he managed Schalke after that, I believe, and then since then he's been in the Belgium setup for years.
So there's a discussion to be had whether
he was assistant first, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he started off as assistant. I might be wrong there.
Well, we call for this kind of thing. That may be all true. We call for this sort of thing within the England squad, and there's certain examples where it works. That the prime one being Germany, and the Dutch are doing it as well. Those are the two nations that are having a manager, bringing through their assistant, and continuing that kind of motion of, we know who the next manager is going to be. It's going to be when you step down, your assistant's going to take over because he knows what everyone wants. He can adapt it to the way he wants, but in tune, the system will be there. And Belgium need to get on that path very quickly, or they'll be England.
I'm just checking. Wilmots was assistant between 2009 and 2012, and then he took over fully in charge in 2012. So it's not as if it's a new club to him or a new kind of squad. He will have seen these players coming through. He will have known what to expect from these players.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced.
Then again, Belgium's burst has been quite rapid. You look at the players that have suddenly become extremely successful. The likes of, like, these players were good, but they were never of a Champions League standard. A lot of them were kind of on the edge of the Champions League. And because the reason I say this, you might say, well, that's mental. But 5 years ago, none of these players, to my knowledge, apart from maybe Van Boyten, were anywhere near the Champions League. And now you've got a lot of players in this squad that are in the Champions League on a regular basis. So the quality that they're suddenly providing is a lot higher than someone like Wilmots may have anticipated. You never know.
I mean, to be fair, Wilmots did take Belgium, I believe, to their highest ever FIFA World ranking like last year. But it kind of, I don't know. Yeah. You look at the Belgian players and how they performed this last year. None of the, I know, like, for example, Hazard had a good season, but you never saw that really transfer over into the Belgian performances.
Yeah. I feel like we're focusing more on Belgium than we did the other three nations.
I feel like there's more to talk about and more to kind of...
I don't want to be in a situation in 6 years' time or 8 years' time where we're saying, remember when we talk about Belgium in the 2014 World Cup, and remember how we said this would happen? We have no influence over what Belgium do, but...
Mark, if you need any tactical... I've got my phone number... Or at ForTheFans show on Twitter.
We're both regular Football Manager players, so
We know how to play. But no,
hit us up.
That's that. Where do we want to go from here, Ben? Because have we asked a Twitter question of the day? We haven't.
This could go anywhere now. We've like, hey, there's planning, and you've just seen it. There's now talk about whatever you like. How long have we been going for? That's important.
I have no idea.
Just as an estimate. 25 minutes?
25 minutes, maybe.
All right, well, let's do another 15 or so, talking about whatever.
Right, can I get the big story of the day?
Yeah, go on. I'm going to eat some frazzles.
Vahid Halilhodžić quit the Algeria job. He's quit. He's had enough. He said, you know what? I'm leaving. The country's president, Algeria, or Al Jazeera, in the words of a few pundits in England, because they're absolutely clueless, have come out, and he's pleaded. The country's president. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if David Cameron just came out and was like, Roy, don't leave us.
I'd love that.
It doesn't happen, does it? Let's be honest.
Love it. Yeah, but imagine that. Imagine that. You just see Cameron sat outside a 10 down the street, bottle of vodka, going, it's all gone wrong. Roy.
They only lost 2-1 to Germany. Like, I forget that. Like, Algeria have had such a good tournament.
They're a little bit like Colombia, but a stage back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out why he'd leave. He's quite old, I think. So is that reason enough to leave? I'm trying to come up with a reason.
Is he in his hundreds?
He's 61.
That's not that old.
Yeah.
Not for a football manager.
But it's stressful though, Algeria.
Poor Algeria.
They've had their best ever World Cup, and now they've lost their manager. He's just gone, you know what? I'm too old for this shit.
I should mention, if you're wondering why we're not covering the teams that went through, there's a day tomorrow to do that. Don't worry, we got a full show somehow. What else should we talk about then?
Low. He said Brazil have little flair.
Oh,
he's firing shots.
Is he right though?
No.
No. So who's flary?
Oscar, Willian.
Yeah, they're not Ronaldinho or Rivaldo. Well, he's back.
Why don't they recall Rivaldo? He still plays like professionally, aged 42.
I would love that. That'd be great. Keeping on the Brazil theme, Thiago Silva is having his suspension appealed, which I don't understand, because he got 2 yellows. So if I missed the rules somewhere, not only has he done that, Jack, as he appealed the suspension, but FIFA have gone, yeah, we'll analyse the materials. What?
What have they got to analyse?
That's not a thing.
Well, analyse the materials. I've got this image of them getting the yellow card that he was presented with, putting it under a microscope and being like, yeah, it's made of card.
Well, that's not how it works. Just because they've lost Neymar and they're desperate to get... Do you know what I think will happen? I think he'll be allowed to play.
So the rule here is that you can't have 2 yellow cards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or you get knocked out. But is it a second yellow in the semi-finals doesn't count? I believe it's been wiped clean now.
It's wiped now.
But to stop players getting booked in the semi-final and that being their second yellow, but because he got 2, one in the last game and one in the kind of second round, he's out. Can you appeal a yellow card? I don't feel like you can.
Well, it says the chances of a successful appeal appear limited, as historically only red cards have been rescinded. That's because that's the rule, is it not?
Who knows?
You can't appeal yellow cards. You can't appeal yellow cards. That's surely not a thing. If that is a thing, why is it only happening now in a World Cup semi-final potential moment? No, I'm not having it. Delia Fisher, she's the FIFA spokeswoman, Delia, surely. They've said the disciplinary committee is analysing the material submitted by the Brazilian Football Confederation. Madness, absolute bollocks. Where do we go from here, Jack?
Well, have you heard why Tim Krul got subbed on? Have you heard Louis van Gaal's genius reason?
Oh yeah, we're going to be talking about this on the radio today. If you don't know, we appear every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on BBC Radio Manchester about 4:45. We'll be talking about this on the show because Van Gaal's the new Manchester United.
I feel really sorry for Silas in it, because Van Gaal's basically come out and said, yeah, we put him in goal because he's taller and has a better reach than Silasson. Silasson's 6'2", Krul's 6'4". Like,
yeah, that's quite a big difference.
Yeah, but 6'2", I feel sorry for him. Like, does this mean teams are going to have designated subs? They're just going to get like one of those people off like embarrassing bodies who's really tall. Or, Body Shock on Channel 4. We're going to see all the tall players like in South America that you see.
I'm not sure they'll be called up for a World Cup squad based on that. Like, Krul is a professional goalkeeper.
This is true. Didn't think about that.
In which case, get Adrian Childs in. Just he'll distract.
Can you imagine that the elephant man in goal for India?
Why is this gone? No, I can't. Right. Can you? Really? Can you?
Yeah, I can.
I know where he'd pack all his boots and that, though.
Where would he pack them?
His trunk. That's good. It was a good pun. You always do the puns.
Have you heard what Wilmot said?
Oh, we've already given him a... What's he done now?
He said, Argentina are... Watch what the next word is. If you're watching the podcast now, or not YouTube, write down your word for what you think he said.
Handsome?
No. It's worse than that. Ordinary.
Ordinary.
Wow. That's a shot fired right there.
If I was called that by a woman, that'd be horrific. You're ordinary. Ooh.
Messi, ordinary.
Ordinary. Yeah, Messi, the best player in the world.
It's not even boring. At least boring makes it sound like you don't sit on the fence. Ordinary just sounds general.
Really? Wilmot should shut the... Sorry, Mr. Jack. Should shut the fuck up, because he's out. He lost to the ordinary boys.
What does that make Belgium?
Inadequate. Imagine if the Argentine manager comes out and goes, Belgium, we've got one word for them, inadequate.
I think he'll be apologising for saying ordinary. I think that's disgusting behaviour. I don't actually. But speaking of apologies, Juan Zuniga has decided he doesn't want to be murdered by the Brazilian cartel and has come out and said, sorry Neymar, broke your back, mate.
Yeah, sorry about that. You're still out though, so I can't help you in that sense. But I am sorry.
Apparently, FIFA's disciplinary committee are studying it.
I don't want to.
They can't study it because the ref's seen it.
It's too late to study it. It's too late.
They're going to analyse the material again.
Stop analysing materials, right? You're not Gok Wan. Pack it in.
I imagine that the FA are just going to watch the entire Brazil v Colombia game and just give out yellow cards where they should have been given.
Yeah, they're going to start saying, well, actually, sorry, Germany, I know you've had a good tournament, but that tackle Neuer did in the first game, we're not happy about it, so we're going to suspend him for this game, as unfair as you might think it is, but we have reviewed the materials. So, yeah, see, this is getting ridiculous. Stop appealing yellow cards. I'm annoyed. Oh, dear. Shall we gloss on the transfers a little bit? There's been a few transfers in this World Cup.
In the World Cup, can you imagine that if you could do swapsies with players?
Can I start a big one, which is kind of gone under the radar? And I'm not sure if it's official, but I think it is. Toni Kroos is going to Real Madrid.
Has that been 100% confirmed?
It's pretty close. If it's not already confirmed, then it's very, very close, or it's happened. And because the World Cup's been on, I've not looked too much. This is what happens. We said it was going to be unprepared. I'm typing in Kroos to Google now. He's a player for Bayern Munich, but he's gone to Real Madrid, which is bizarre because I thought he was guaranteed to be going to Manchester United. Did
he say, "Oh, I'm going. I fancy Madrid"?
Probably.
Did he do one of those? Said it months ago.
It's only for 25 million. It's
do you reckon if we say on the podcast that that Madrid should want us, that they'll take us?
Yeah, I would like to move to LA Galaxy, please, because I think the weather's nice, and I'd like to be on Ellen. So, can someone make that happen? I've said it now.
I feel like that's doable.
Can we report that on the Twitter account after the show?
Yeah.
That's when I made that public, that I would like a move to LA Galaxy, please.
Do you know what the best transfer of this entire window's been for me? I want to say it's World Cup related. It kind of is. The guy's Brazilian. Kaká. Don't know if you've heard where he's gone, but he's joining MLS side Orlando City.
Yeah, the MLS are pulling out the big guns, aren't they?
The issue is, they've bought him. Their season doesn't start until January, so they've loaned him back to Brazil, I believe, to Sao Paulo for 6 months.
Have you heard about where Lampard might be going?
Hasn't it been confirmed that he's going to the New York City?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, maybe, but he's got some time before that, hasn't he?
Yeah, is it?
Apparently he's going to Melbourne. He's doing a world tour, is Frank Lampard.
He's going to go to Melbourne Victory, is that? Or is that the other Melbourne team?
I'm not sure. I think it was Melbourne FC.
Oh, you see, they're not as cool.
Okay, well, that's apparently... I could just be making shit up right now, so I'm sorry, anyone that's listening. In other news, Alexis Sanchez hasn't decided to go anywhere yet, despite every news outlet saying he's going there. We don't know. Nobody actually knows where he's going. The same thing with Luis Suarez.
He's going to Norwich. He's going to Norwich. You heard it here first. Someone get it on the Daily Mail.
Part exchange with Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. No, the same thing with Suarez. We can't talk about it because he's literally not gone anywhere yet, despite every news outlet saying the fee's been agreed. Has it? Because no one knows. No one's saying the same fee. I don't know if you can tell. I'm getting very irritated by the Suarez discussion from all sources.
I'm going to calm you down here, Ben. I'm going to try and tell you this. And I'll tell you what, there's one team who are going to Roma supreme in the fullback positions next season, and that's Roma. They've got Ashley Cole. They've signed him on a free. Of course, his contract at Chelsea expiring. The England left back opted to kind of step down from his role in the England squad for this World Cup, and now he's on the plane to Roma. So we're going to see a bit of him and Maicon on either wing. There's also been rumours of Yedlin going to Roma today.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the US right back who's been linked with Liverpool.
He's linked in the last few days. He's had a good tournament. He's one of these people that's had a decent tournament. He's had 4 good games, and everyone's like, "Yeah, let's just get him a move."
Can we talk about the biggest tragedy of today?
Tragedy? Yeah. What is it that Nasri signed the new contract?
No.
Oh, okay, what is it then?
The new United football. Depends on how you look at it. The new United football kit for Manchester.
What does it look like?
I've just linked to it in our little chat. It's tragic. Like, if you're a United fan, let me know what you think. I'm not just saying this as a biased fan.
Is it a home or away kit?
It's home. The Chevrolet logo. Like, what have they done?
Actually, I've laughed. I've more laughed because of Darren Fletcher's face behind everyone. On the right-hand side, look at Darren Fletcher.
He looks like he's just mugged off a geezer.
It's actually not... I hate to say this. The badge is obviously awful, but... It's not as horrific as I...
Do you not think? Like, United fans, let us know what you think. I'm not convinced. I would have liked to have either seen the badge brighter and the logo, like the sponsors kept the same, or the sponsor kind of brightness turned down a little and to match the badge.
Well, United had a really appalling... It was either an away kit or alternative kit. I don't pay much attention to Manchester United kids. But that actually isn't that bad. It's not horrific. They've had far worse.
I just noticed Hernandez sneaking in at the back left, but he kind of looks like a fan.
Yeah, he does actually. I feel sorry for a few of those players.
Darren Fletcher looks like he's ready to jump on his BMX and mug someone.
Right, let's move on.
We should probably... I'll tweet the picture out on the ForTheFans Twitter, so if you want to know what we're on about here...
Yeah, you may have already seen it. It's probably all over Twitter.
Yeah, we're probably just late to the party. Right, is there anything else to talk about here? I'm desperately kind of thinking, what can we talk about? It's a football podcast. We've covered everything but the World Cup today, seemingly.
Do you know what? I used the BBC at the start of the show. I'll refer back to them. Oh, apparently Liverpool closed in on double deal for Origi, who's at the World Cup, so that's relevant. And also Markovic, who's a potentially overrated Portugal winger, potentially very good, potentially not very good. Nobody knows because we don't see him play very often. Chris Baird's moved to West Brom.
As you know.
Prandelli, the Italy coach, has gone to Galatasaray. David Moyes was linked with that job, but then they realised it was David Moyes, so that's not happened. Lovren's done the classic thing of, I'd quite like a move to Liverpool, although you're not there yet, so shut up. Have you seen the 3-game ban for Brazilian's press officer?
I heard about him offending a Chile player. Feel free to tell us that story.
Brazilian press officer Rodrigo Pavia has been suspended for the rest of the World Cup by FIFA after an incident with a Chile player during the last 16 match on the 28th of June. The communications officer allegedly shoved Pinella, is that the striker for Chile?
Probably.
I can't remember where he plays, sorry. At half-time in the game, Brazil eventually won on penalties after it ended 1-1. He's banned for 3 matches, with the 4th suspended for 2 years.
Wow.
Someone see. They should just appeal it. Get the Brazilian Federation to appeal it. They'll look at the materials.
I've got a great closing story for us on today's podcast. Not World Cup related, but I think
he was also fined 10,000 Swiss francs. Sorry.
I love the fact it's in Swiss francs with it being FIFA. That's my favourite bit. But
that's about £7,000 for other people.
For our big kind of closing story, I want to cast our eyes to China, where Hamburg are doing their pre-season tour, and they've just lost to Guangzhou 6-2.
Oh no!
So there we go. If you're a China fan, that's happened.
That was your final story.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder I ate a frazzle.
I think it was relevant for the World Cup. So.
Yeah, because China did really well.
They did.
As did Hamburg. Right.
Half their players are probably missing. I don't know how many Hamburg players are in the Germany side. Anyway, I feel like on that rather irrelevant bombshell.
It wasn't. Yeah. Yep.
We'll go with that. It was a bit of a shot in the wrong direction.
All right.
We'll end things there, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Ben, where can people find us if they want to stalk us further?
Well, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we don't mention this too often, but we're on BBC Radio Manchester. I don't think they've clocked who we support yet, but we'll carry on as we were. Yeah, we're on the afternoon show, the drive time show with, is it Kay today?
I think it's Kay.
Yeah, 4:45. Feel free to listen there. If you don't want to listen to that, obviously we're on iTunes and we're on YouTube. For the Fan Show is where you can find us on all platforms. Twitter, Facebook, we're not on that yet. Should we get a Facebook?
Probably should.
Next season we'll sort of Facebook out.
We will.
Yeah, from me, Ben.
And me,
my co-host,
Jack.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow when we talk about the teams that went through and the games that are happening tomorrow too.